Hey, I'm so glad that you're here. If you suffer from anxiety, you are in the right place. Hello, my name is Emily Clark. I'm a spiritual guide and anxiety coach. I am here to teach you everything that I've learned about healing my own anxiety and helping other women all around the world heal their anxiety as well. If you are new to my community, no, I am not a doctor, but I am a girl who's figured out what you're trying to figure out. So please read the disclaimer in the description box and let's get going.
What should we call this, like a mental health recovery plan?
In this video, I wanted to share the dominant fear that is coming up for most human beings and the two pieces that support that fear. And then of course, the tools that you can lean on so that no matter where you are, no matter what's happening, no matter how you're feeling, you can lean on your tools, come back to your heart and feel good again. Okay, so the dominant fear that is coming up for most of us right now after 2020 is this fear of I am not safe. I am not safe in my body. The world is dangerous. Human beings are dangerous. The world is not clean. And that is a very important thing to understand here, is that we are all moving through this space and this understanding and this consciousness upgrade of how do I feel safe in my body? So in my community, the two prongs or the two supportive pieces that I mentioned are hypochondriacism and then also this belief that other human beings are a threat to you and your safety. But ultimately, they both lead to a belief that you are not safe. So let's start off with the hypochondria. Woo, I know this one. Oh my gosh, my ego loves to get me with this one. But it's okay, because it's just a lesson. I believe that all anxieties are just a lesson. Learn the lesson, anxiety goes away. And so hypochondria is, again, like I said, the belief that you're not okay, that something is wrong, and that you need to fix it. And so if you suffer from hypochondriacism, I think I said that right. I have a full podcast episode on that for you, so I'll link it below. We go very in depth in that one, so I highly suggest it for you. And so what's actually coming up for you right now is a desire to control, a desire to feel safe in your body. And so anytime that you feel a sensation in your body, check how your ego immediately links it to being sick. And so that is the actual lesson, and learning how to feel safe in your body, even when your ego is trying to, take over. And so it's not even about what's going on in the world. It's about a huge consciousness upgrade. And how do you feel safe in your body? And how do you respond to those physical sensations or to those intrusive thoughts that say that you're not safe? That is the actual lesson. And when we break it down like that, it feels so much better. Like I said, I have a full podcast on that, so I will link that below for you to listen to after this. The second supportive piece for the I'm not safe belief comes from other human beings. We have been conditioned to believe that other human beings are a threat to us. And so a lot of my students or community members have been sharing like, oh my God, like I'm feeling a lot of anxiety as I think about going back to work and going back to my actual desk or working in board offices again. And so if that is how you're feeling, it's totally okay that you're feeling that way. Again, this just leads us back to the initial fear of, am I safe in my body? And how do I override those intrusive thoughts? And how do I heal that energy in my body that says that I'm not safe? How do I heal that fear? Okay, I'm basically gonna take you through these steps that we teach inside of my program, Anxiety Academy. So here we go. The next time that you do not feel safe in your body, I want you to stop what you're doing and I want you to just be with yourself. This is super, super important and way overlooked. Most of the time we are just going, always achieving in our masculine energy, white knuckle through it, numb through it. We very rarely actually take time to spend with ourselves and build a connection with ourselves and our body and our mind and our spirit. So the next time that you feel that felt sensation of I'm not safe in my body, I want you to stop what you're doing, put your hand on your heart and your stomach and just take a deep breath. By taking that deep breath, you're actually sending a signal to your brain, to your sympathetic nervous system, the part of us that's responsible for our fight or flight mechanism. And you're saying, hey, we are getting more than enough oxygen. We are safe. Everything is okay. Because when we're in fight or flight, that's when we have a shortness of breath. Oxygen and blood are going to vital organs just to make sure that you can stay alive. And so by taking that deep breath, you are letting your body and your sympathetic nervous system and your brain know that you are safe, because you are. A lot of the times when we feel energy, we make it bad right away. Or anytime we feel a felt sensation, we're confused by it, we don't understand why it's happening, we turn it into something negative. I want you to know that your energy and your emotions are neutral. They are neutral. There is no static charge to them unless we project fears and our insecurities onto them. So what I want you to do the next time that you feel like you're not safe in your body, I want you to be with it. Don't run away from that feeling. Be with it. And your power actually lies in your non-responsiveness. So if you're always running away from a dog, what is the dog going to do? It's always going to like chase you. So the idea is that you be with yourself in that fear because you are 1000% safe, sister. You are 1000% safe. Your body is the safest place for you to be. If you were safer in a paperclip, you would be in a paperclip, but we can't do that. Not in this lifetime, at least. So I want you to remember, new mantra, I am safe in my body. I am safe to feel my feelings. I am safe right now. I am safe in my body. I'm safe to feel my feelings. I am safe. Okay? So be with yourself as if you are being with a child who is afraid. Okay? So the next time that you feel those fearful thoughts or you feel that felt sensation of I'm not safe in my body, boom, immediately come into your body and say, I am safe. I am safe right now. I'm safe to feel my feelings. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Let that sympathetic nervous system know you are okay. The second thing that I want you to check in with is understand that this is just a lesson. This beautiful moment that you are experiencing right now is here to better you. It is here to strengthen you. It is here to heal you. It is just a lesson. I always say anxiety is just a lesson. Learn the lesson, anxiety goes away. So in fact, this moment that your fear would like you to believe is a terrible moment, it actually is a beautiful moment for you to heal. And it's that switch in perception that my students find that healing. If we always think that anxiety and fear is bad, it's always going to be bad. But when you give yourself permission to see things differently through the lenses of love, that's when you can have an entirely different outcome. And that's the massive basis on what I teach to my students and to myself, what worked for me. Instead of fearing that fear, I actually love it. It is now my teacher. So remember in that moment, it is just here to teach you a lesson. Learn the lesson, anxiety and fear goes away. Third thing, is this a typical habit for you? Let's get clear on your patterns. Is this a typical pattern for you? Do you oftentimes feel a felt sensation and then make it bad? Do you often have an intrusive thought and then make it bad? So just check in with your patterns. Is this a pattern that your ego and your shadow and your inner critic typically take you on? Because thought patterns are just thought patterns. We can change thought patterns. There are no problems. Tony Robbins talks about this. He says there's no problems, there's just patterns. We can relearn patterns. They're much easier to retrain. Like seatbelts. That is just a pattern. And it's a learned pattern. And you can learn any pattern, any thought pattern that you want for yourself as well. Is this a story that your ego typically enrolls you into? So patterns and stories are very closely linked. Typically, you will see the same pattern and the same story enrolled together. For example, if you are feeling a felt sensation of I'm not safe in my body, and you're feeling that fear, you are typically enrolling yourself, or your ego is enrolling you into a story that says that you're not safe. And that's just a pattern for you. It probably shows up in many areas of your life because how we do one thing is how we do everything. So check in with that story. Oh, isn't that interesting? My ego's enrolling me into that same story that I'm not safe in my body. Amazing. What a beautiful moment of healing right now. The next thing to check in on is your attachment. So human beings have a massive attachment to our bodies. Obviously, we are inside of them. And so when we give ourselves permission to kind of take a step back and to detach from this connection that we have with our body, instead of being the experiencer, we can be the observer. There is so much power in being the observer of your experience. So if you are trying to see something, but you have fear right in front of your face, all you can see is fear. It always follows you. But when you give yourself perspective, all of a sudden your vision of field becomes bigger and you can see other things. It's like if you were standing right in front of the Mona Lisa. If you were this close to the Mona Lisa, you'd be like, this is hella pixelated. Like, what's the big deal? Then you take a step back and you're like, oh, what a beautiful picture of a woman. So being the observer and taking a step back and going, okay, interesting. I'm observing my experience. I'm observing these thoughts and these patterns and these lessons. Interesting. when you actually pull away from it, you will have a different perspective. And if it helps you, you can have a page in your journal or a couple of pages in your journal just noting the observations. Oh, last time I went to the store, my fear was triggered that I'm not safe. Isn't it so interesting? As soon as I went to touch the handle of the door, that's when my fear kicked in. Just observing that so that the next time you go to a store, you can better prepare yourself. Maybe you meditate before you go. Maybe you say your mantras of I'm safe and take a couple of deep breaths and remember that this experience is only here to heal you. You can do all of that in the car before you go in there so that you don't experience so much anxiety. God, I love this. I could talk about anxiety all day long. I do. I love it. Okay. The next thing I want you to check in on is your judgment. Is this a bad moment? Is it a good moment? Coming back to a little bit of an earlier part of the conversation, do you typically make things bad? Do you make them wrong? Do you make them fearful? Because again, everything is neutral, but how we perceive it, how we observe it, how we move through it, dictates how we're going to feel after. And so something that I always check in with myself is, oh, this is neutral, but I'm choosing fear. I'm choosing fear instead of love. Can I choose love in this moment instead of fear? And again, having that switch in perception, one of my favorite books called A Course in Miracles says that having, a miracle is when you have that switch in perception from fear to love. And so every moment I'm trying to live my life in a more loving state. So check in with yourself. Are you judging this moment? Is it bad? Oh, I'm feeling all this fear. Oh my God, this must be bad. Whoa, back up. Revert to the previous steps that we just talked about. What I find with me and my students is if my students are still judging their anxiety and still judging a moment, we're still acting from a place of fear. And so that's okay. We just go back to some of the previous steps, maybe embody them a little bit deeper, maybe ask a question or get some more clarification on it so that we can embody it in a way that actually serves us so that the next time we know not to make that moment bad. The next step is to forgive yourself and forgive the moment. Ooh, this one. Forgiveness is like the black belt of spirituality. Actually, I just found out that the brown belt is higher than the black belt. So reverse. Forgiveness is like the brown belt of spirituality. It requires perception. And again, coming back to that observation point. And coming back to choosing love over fear. Forgive yourself. You're doing the best that you can. I see you. I know you. I am you. I know how it feels sometimes to blame yourself and to judge yourself. Come back into your heart, sister. You are doing the best that you can, and I know that everything is going to work out perfectly for you, for me, for us. The next step is to fully allow the energy to just move through you and out of you. So a couple of deep breaths. I like to visualize just being in a wave and it just washing up against me and then washing away. And what that does is it actually gives space for the energy to leave you. So often we trap energy inside of our bodies in different parts of our bodies. And so by visualizing it leaving you, doing this motion and taking a couple deep breaths, that's really going to help you as well. And then the last thing is trust. Trust that you are safe. Believe that you are safe. There is a saying in A Course in Miracles that says that you can see the evidence of fear, you can believe it, and you can project even more fear onto it, making it more of a reality. Or not. The choice is yours, right? Again, everything is neutral. And so feminine energy is faith. And so trusting is faith. And when you know it, you show it. And I have had too many opportunities in my life where I've chosen to trust and it has worked out perfectly for me to not trust now. So give yourself permission to trust that everything is going to work out perfectly for you and everybody involved. And that last piece might be really hard because human beings have been conditioned to believe that if there's no concrete evidence, if there's nothing to hold, you can't see it, then it's not there. But what we now know is that energy is everything. Energy is everything, and that we will be having much more conversations about energy moving forward. And so there's a saying that says that if, blessed are those who believe before seeing. And that's because they are signing up, they're getting in line up vibrationally before it actually happens. And Abraham Hicks talks about this a lot too. And so if you can believe it, you can achieve it. And it is one of the most beautiful practices of my day is to trust, is to show up in faith, is to know that everything's going to work out perfectly for me, for you, for all of us. And when you know it, you show it. And I've had way too many opportunities in my life where I've had to lean on trust because I couldn't control anything, and it has always worked out perfectly. So for me, trust is a must.
Need that on a t-shirt.
So I hope that this video was incredibly informative and helpful for you and gave you clarity as we move forward into the next couple of years. I believe the human consciousness is about to up-level in a massive way. And whether you are just beginning your healing journey or you're, in the middle or you're a veteran, we know that healing can be painful and uncomfortable, somewhat destructive, and we are experiencing that right now as a human race. So I'm just sending you so much love. And I trust that on the other side of this, it is going to be so blissful. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would love to know what was your favorite kind of like takeaway piece from this video. And of course, if you know someone who would benefit from watching this video, please send it to them. A text message takes like 5 seconds. I'm sending you so much love. Mwah.